All right. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Let's see who is joining. Say hello in the chat box, please. Welcome to this wonderful MiniVersity. Hi, guys. Hi, Kathy and May and Margaret and Patty. I feel like we're doing like a children's show. And Tammy and Tanya and Wendy. It's so good to see everybody. Welcome. We'll just wait a couple of minutes just for folks to join. Please tell me where you're joining from so I can make sure that the chat box is working. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Hey, Suffolk, good to see you. Good. Finally, the chat box is working. Montreal. Hey, Jack, great to see you. Yeah, and hi, Charlene. Yay, some familiar faces. I see some new names. That's always good too. So we'll just wait one more minute, but please, if you're just joining, hey, Michael, if you're just joining, definitely say hello in the chat box. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we bring up our very special guest lecturer. Um, hey, Manitoba Canadians, yay, good to see you. Hey, Delavan, New York. I didn't know there was a Delavan, New York. I'm going to have to look that. Hi, Kingston, Mahari, good to see you. Let's go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining this MiniVersity session on this. It is Sunday, right? Sunday, 4 o'clock. Thank you for spending this time with me and our special guest. I'm excited to be hosting this MiniVersity. And we'll get to Martha in a second. I just want to tell you what's going on before we do the Miniversity. I do have an estate sale happening right now, and if you're just joining, say hello in the chat box. It is the collection of Anday Smith, and I don't know if some of you might know her. She was a huge contributor to the miniatures world. She was a writer and author. She wrote 4 books. She wrote numerous articles in the magazines about miniatures and miniaturists. She held positions on the board of Name and IGMA, a very important part of our community. And I'm just really honored to be ushering in her wonderful treasures, or a portion of her treasures, actually, to new homes where they will be adored and cherished. So check that out. I popped the links in the chat box. I'll go ahead and do it again in case you missed it. In case you want to go check out this sale, it is happening now. Bidding, it is an auction type sale, and bidding is going to end today at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So go check it out. Lovely, lovely, wonderful treasures. You'll also want to check out if you missed it live, I had a recent Meet the Miniaturist featuring the Up Park Doll's House, which is an incredible 18th century doll's house that's on view in the UK. We had a very special presentation by one of the board members where the museum is on view. It's a really a lovely presentation. Go check that out. And that's actually on my YouTube channel where most of these go get posted. So you might want to go check out my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And then finally hold the date, Saturday, November 16th at 10 a.m., it's basically going to be a follow-up to this wonderful Miniversity, which is a broad look at how to build an incredible miniatures collection, which I'll be hosting a Miniversity on doing that. Today, we're going to do a deep dive, a more deeper dive into certain categories within miniatures. And with that, I'm gonna invite Martha to come on screen and introduce herself. And I want to thank her for joining. So Martha is a miniaturist herself, by the way, but she's also has an incredible collection of miniatures and is incredibly knowledgeable about many categories, but we're going to do deep dive into 3 specific categories today. So thank you, Martha, for talking to us about sterling silver, about glass and porcelain, not necessarily in that order, but we'll get to it.
Hi, Jared.
So that you guys at home can get an understanding. This is for people who are already collectors, can always learn something more, or if you are new to collecting and want to build your knowledge base about how to collect these miniatures, what to look for, how to spot a really good miniature. And so again, thank you, Martha, for joining and sharing your expertise and your wonderful collection with us, because this is really going to be an amazing time. I'm looking forward to it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit as we go into the collection and what we'll be talking about today.
Hi, Darren. Thanks again for having me the afternoon to come and see these different pieces. I've been collecting now since about 2000. I'm a maker, collector, and I do take a table at our local miniature shows because I've brought in fine miniatures for the Canadian market, and I do the local shows here. I've gotten away from a lot of that specifically to concentrate on my flowers. But over the years, as I traveled to the international shows, I would bring back miniatures that I loved myself. So
Yeah.
sometimes it was one for me and then one to sell. But it did give me a chance to really learn and appreciate and enjoy and share my love of collecting with others that love to do it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to just restate that you're a maker too. So you already have and a wonderful maker, by the way. Your
Thank you.
flowers are wonderful. And so it's not only that you're coming to the perspective with, just understanding these treasures, but you do have an in-depth knowledge of making fine miniatures. So I think that just gives you that extra skill set to be able to talk about what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, I think with having access to all of these different makers over the years, what I have sought with my own flowers are unique containers, different containers, and some of these people, the glass blowers, the silversmiths, have done some containers specifically and uniquely to me. So it's wonderful to do those collabs with other makers as well, and it obviously takes the price point up, but you're getting two makers sometimes with my containers. So it's fun.
Yeah, and I think just having your interaction with these makers in these other categories, I'm sure that you've had dialogue with them, you've discussed what it is you've wanted and talked about how things are being made. So again, that just adds to your knowledge base, which I think it's wonderful. It's just wonderful.
I've made a lot of wonderful friends too
Yeah, I
as a
bet.
result.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about three categories: glassware, porcelain, and silver. I think we're going to talk about glassware first, correct?
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh wait, were we
You,
going to go with
you
the
are
videos
going to
first?
start that video.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So just to set this up for us. So what we're going to show first is how you have them presented in your own collection, and then we're going to do a close-up view of some of these pieces that you've set out in a vignette. Correct?
Yes. So I found that as I started collecting, I collected collections within my collection. So whether it be porcelain, glass, silver, furniture, food, there were different categories. And you can only put so many of these things into one dollhouse.
Wow.
The shops then become what I love, being able to display all different makers all at the same time.
So kind of it's born out of the need to find a place for your expansive treasures.
Exactly.
It
And now
makes sense.
a
Yeah.
lot of this furniture is Michael Walton's Georgian furniture, and I've decided maybe not best in my Venetian glass box. So he's actually building me a dollhouse at the moment, so it will likely move into there. And um,
So tell us a little bit about how you structured this specific room. I see built-ins, I see shelves.
This was one of the first classes that I ever did with Ray Whitlich and Scott Burgess. I learned a lot from those guys about building and learned the skills to go on and build my own rooms. So this again was a class. They did a different decor, and I chose to use Lace chinoiserie silk fabric on the walls. I painted it a different color scheme. And of course, the picture in the background of Venice is something that I took when we were there. So it
Yeah.
incorporates all sorts of things into this one.
You know what? I think what I had up was the porcelain, which we're going to go back to in a second, but
No, it was the glass. It
oh,
was
that was
there.
glass.
That was glass.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Yeah. All right. So then let's talk about
So
glass.
do you want to play the video? Can you play it?
Oh, I did just have it. Hold on. Maybe you couldn't see it. Hold on.
Did it play? Let's play it.
Okay. Now it's playing. Can you see?
Yep, that's great.
Okay. Got it. All right. So this, yeah. So this is the glass shop.
This is the glass shop.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I did have the wrong one up, but this one is the right one now. I'm seeing a lot of the Michael Walton pieces, the Georgian furniture, the desk, obviously a lot of the crystal cut glass.
Yeah. And I take you around. Raymond Story did a lot of the glass in the window. It's a Jim Irish crystal vase that he made a special insert for me for those to put my flowers in. This is a lot of Gerd Felka glass.
Mm,
His glass is beautiful. There's some forcing bulb vases there on the second shelf that are very unique and different.
mm.
Ferenc Albert's glass. Peter Kisto used it with his Aperon, which is lovely. Again, one of those collabs that is fabulous.
Yes, iconic.
Now, whenever I travel, and I'm curious if other people do it as well, I'm often on the hunt for unique and different pieces that maybe aren't made by miniatures at all. So the little Venetian gondola is something that I picked up in Venice, as are the little animals, blown glass animals and things on the upper shelves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to find a maker who is not in the miniatures world, but does beautiful miniatures. It's just, it's a joy to have that to bring that into your collections.
And as a collector, one tends to look for things that you like in real life. So I have a number of scent bottles. So the scent bottles are Gerd Felka's. Again, another collab. The colored glass with sterling silver is a British maker, Victor Payne. He's retired. And the little glass frog, I've highlighted him before in some of my posts. He's Vitreous Cygnus. They're new to they've been exhibiting in Chicago now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And this is Jim Irish's silver, or sorry, Jim Irish's crystal,
Yeah.
which is just wonderful. And I often use his crystal as an example of the life skills someone brings to making miniatures. He worked at Waterford Crystal for his life and only started making the miniatures after he retired. So very unique pieces.
Yeah. Just incredible. So, all right, I mean, this is really incredible. Just incredible. And I love how you have everything displayed just so beautifully. So are we going to talk a little bit more about glass specifically?
Yeah,
Do you have a vignette
we
for that?
we are. If you
Okay.
want to switch, I can switch my video here to the different
Okay. I'm gonna
makers that I
stop.
have amassed here for everybody to see.
Yes.
Uh, I have to figure out how to switch my screen. So here we go. There we go.
Good job.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
again, let's start with Raymond Story, whom I'm sure everybody knows for his lights, but
Hmm.
Raymond's glass blowing skills are absolutely amazing. He does scientific glassware. He's done a number of vases for me, beautiful square modern vases. But his lights, as everyone knows, are simply stunning.
It
He
really is.
has retired now, but as he uses up some of his materials and things, he's still taking the occasional order if people are interested in that.
Mhm.
Again, Jim Irish's crystal, beautiful, beautiful pieces. All the facets and the cuts, just like in real life. The reason his pieces were so expensive is very interesting. He used the broken stems from goblets and things at the Waterford factory, which was garbage to them, but he could turn beautiful miniatures. And sometimes it took him 10 tries to get one vase or one bowl, because when he did the wash after the acid wash, sometimes he'd cut through. So um, you do understand sometimes why some of these pieces are expensive as they are, just because of the time involved.
So were most of his pieces repurposed? Is that what we're saying?
No, the material he used was the Waterford stems
Uh-huh.
that, as the true glass cutters in real life were cutting, sometimes they would make mistakes, and the stems were just garbage because but they were the perfect size for him to use for miniatures. So he utilized something that might have gone into the garbage
Oh,
because they couldn't use them for a full size piece, and so he
wow.
used those for miniatures. And he made me a special little table at one point, which was kind of
Wow.
fun.
Wow.
Moving on, I just want people. Sorry, let's hold this steady. Some of the glass coming out of China at the moment is pretty amazing. It's really fine and delicate, and I encourage people to have a look for that. We have a someone at our miniature shows and that carries just an enormous range of glassware, and I've utilized it to fill little wine glasses and things over the years
Yeah.
because they're kind of fun for a miniature setting. So again, the other thing about this is that when I purchase a piece of furniture, I tend to try and purchase something that displays other miniatures. And this glass table by Escutcheon from the UK is a classic example of something that's great for display. Now, as I said, Gerdfelke's glass is amazing. And of course, there's the life-size version. So as a collector, when you see something, you tend to purchase the same sorts of things. That is one of Gerd's decanter and glass sets. They're beautiful. They're just the colored glass of Gerd's is just, I think it really what draws me into his booth. I don't know whether he may still be doing shows. He's stopped coming to the US for shows. And Glasscraft, another British glass blower, who actually he and Raymond worked together early on in their miniature history of making glass for the miniature scene, and they went different ways when Raymond started doing his lights. And again, Glasscraft Phil has done me numerous custom pieces for my miniatures to fill flowers, and in this case, the sugared fruit. So
Yeah, I
there.
love sugar fruit. So,
And this
so
is the,
yeah, go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead,
No, go
jump
ahead.
in.
Sorry. No, finish.
There's just one more, and the British makers will know a little bit more about this one. His name was Leo Pilly, I think. They can correct me, but he was a glass blower too from the UK.
Ah, so because there is some commercial glassware out there that I've seen that's less expensive that looks really nice,
Mhm.
but it's not what you're showing here. Is there any tips you can give in terms of glassware when people are looking for glass that might help identify, let's say, a finer piece than others?
This is the commercial glassware, actually.
Mhm.
And as I say, it really is quite fine and
Wow.
delicate. Can I get that so you can actually see?
I mean, that stem
Um,
is really thin.
yes, yes. And so again, you don't have to spend a fortune when you're collecting. There are wonderful alternatives to the really high-end pieces as well.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful for sure. Wonderful. All right, so that's
Um,
glassware. Love it.
that's the glassware.
All right,
Okay,
so
so you're going to go on to a new one.
yeah, I'm gonna share the porcelain. I'm gonna
Okay,
share the porcelain room
next.
again, but now we'll be able to talk to it so that folks will know what we're showing. So
So this is my latest room box that I built, again, using skills that I learned in the various classes over the years.
oh,
Um, it's got a beautiful Frank Crescenti crystal chandelier there.
cool.
Um, Again, this could technically be the Stokesware shop, but those are hand painted plates by Karen, and a lot of her dessert sets. The collab of the picnic basket was something that I did with a Canadian wicker maker, and um, it it's very fun. Those English baskets
Yeah.
full of porcelain. Lots of their different dinner sets, as everyone will see, those collected over a very long period of time. Unfortunately, they're not as easy to come by these days, given that has scaled back her production. The Tricia Street porcelain is wonderful. The pieces above are Teresa Welch. Um, Again, more Stokesay.
Oh my goodness, that's just beautiful.
And I think the reason I painted this room blue was to showcase this piece of furniture with the blue willow and the blue sovereign dinnerware. And again, another collab, the food collab of Leslie Burgess of the English Kitchen. Her pieces, she loved using Stokesay ware, and I seemed drawn to the pieces on the beautiful china when I purchased those over there. Terry Kern in the back corner, the umbrella stand. A very hard to come by, the strawberry border piece. And the one of the more favorite pieces in my entire collection is this set of Crown Derby. Karen painted 3 sets of this, and it was more than I had spent on a miniature at once. When I saw it in Chicago and I walked up to the table, and my husband had been given this pattern from a family member, and so we have it in our own collection. So when I saw it, it was but the sticker, it was a bit of sticker shock for me at the time early on, and I walked away from the table, and then I turned around and I walked back and I said, I'll take it. It was probably more than it was probably everything I had thought I would spend at that miniature show at the time. But it was one of those things that I thought, if I don't get it, I had said, could I order one? And she said, no, I don't think I'll paint another set. So it wasn't a pressure sale on their part, but simply
Yeah.
she didn't want to paint it again because
Yeah.
she didn't really enjoy doing the hand painting. So she
Yeah.
did borrow one back for a retrospective. There's a London collector that apparently has one. And Karen's story was that her hand shook handling her own work because she couldn't ever replace that piece if she broke one, because
Yeah.
when you do the firings, the kiln changes the color of the paints and things. So she fired everything all at the same time to get consistency in the colors. So as she said, I could never replace one
Yeah.
piece if she
Yeah.
had broken it. So that's
Yeah.
all. Um,
Yeah.
that's interesting about
I
porcelain.
wanted to get back to that important point you made, which is well, important thought you had, which is which is what I tell people all the time. It's like if you see something you really like, get it because it might not ever be available again. So try not try, I mean try not to second guess yourself when you're at these shows and you see something you like is in your heart, you're like, I have to have that. I know it's not always the case, and money isn't always easy to come by, but if you can, don't wait. Get it.
And quite often, when they say it's one of a kind, that's true. I mean, I've had people ask me to replicate an arrangement, and I said, well, I think I'm close. I just can't do it exactly. And
Right.
so,
That's right.
yeah.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Well, your porcelain collection is beautiful. All right, so we're gonna do a deep dive.
So we are going to do a
Deeper
deep
dive.
dive into porcelain again. Let's go here
And this is what's wait, is so you brought stuff out of those room boxes that you're showing now, or is that an addition?
some are out, some are extra, Darren. Okay, let's do this. So, as far as the Stokesay goes, everyone certainly recognizes Stokesay, and it is hard to come by these days. Hang on, there we go. There we go. So, not only did they do dinnerware, they did these dressing table sets with the jug and the basin and the chamber pot, and they did those in a number of various, as well as their Victorian line of canister jars, kitchen jars. Those are still available. Karen still has different plates available, but the sets are what is really truly becoming hard to come by these days. So let's move on. This is a Canadian maker. And her name is Janice Crawley. She does the most whimsical pieces, the cabbage ware, all themed teapots from the bunnies to the snowmen to pumpkins. The lemon tea set is good fun. She does strawberries. She does Toby jugs. She exhibits in London, usually at the KDF. But the only way you really get to see her is at the Toronto and Montreal. She does Montreal as well in March. But London would be your other chance to do that. Jack Cashmere, again, another piece of furniture fun for displaying things on. That's usually how I look at a piece of furniture when I buy it these days. His cashpo is wonderful. I love using it for flowers. His little tulip brick, and again, another vase. This is a British artisan, this the little bear teapot. Her name was Pat Venning. I don't know that much about her. I do have a couple of her. It was very delicate and fine. So I'm hoping that, oh, Janice does the Edmonton show too. That's correct. Ron Benson and Joe Parker. And then Teresa Welch, who she only ever met her once in Philadelphia in the early years of collecting, and I don't know whether she's still making. It tends to go by on the secondary market quite often. I don't have. I have a little bit of hers in my collection, and Terry Curran. Who doesn't love Terry Curran? It is staggering to me, and I had a chat with Kay a number of years ago now about these pots and how expensive they are on the secondary market, and she was flabbergasted.
Crazy. His stuff, that stuff goes for crazy amounts.
They do, and the way I've kept track of some of these things is to keep old pamphlets, and a lot of them in the early days when there was no website, I would take pictures of. I'd ask first, and then take pictures of their display, and then come home and I would then phone and order things from them. But so it was a way of me ordering from here prior to the internet. But now I look at the prices on some. I pulled it out for this, and these little jars were 15 pounds. The Cornish ware plates were not there. But my favorite pieces, I think, are
look at that.
His creamer and his milk pots. Country
Do you know
Treasure.
anything about how he achieves the printing on it? Do you know about that process?
I think those are transfers, Darren, about a lot of them.
Transferred and then glazed.
And then fired. Yeah, and then fired.
I mean, it's just so clean.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Although there are a couple of mistakes on a couple of them. It's kind of funny, actually.
Really?
A letter missing, or I have a couple in my collection that aren't quite right, but
fun.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And the cockroach trap, which is, again, a very unique piece and different. But again, the collabs with different artisans, food in those containers.
Yeah. Wow. They're just beautiful. I think my favorite is the Teresa the Welsh pieces, because there's a 3D quality. Sometimes she has birds sitting on the edges. Is any of your pieces like, yeah, that's it. Oh my God. Just crazy.
It's so delicate. I think that's what's so lovely about her pieces.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. So can you just talk about that? Are some of the pieces transfer ware? I know the Terry Curran pieces are transfer, but are all the other pieces in terms of
as far as I mean, Jack Cashmere, Mayuki hand paints hers. There's a fellow from Holland that is hand painting his. Janice Crawley, of course. But these were the Stokes they wear.
It's transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I say, Terry used some, but I mean, he did pottery as well. pottery pieces, as well
Beautiful.
as the porcelain.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? I think they're all just stunned. We have no questions on
Happy to
porcelain.
answer anybody's questions. I mean, I think it's important to keep track of your collection. Oh, you're right,
Mhm.
Christopher Whitford. It's important to keep track of these. I did start a little kind of a notebook, I guess, of my. It was a little scary by the time having a look at it now, but it is important sometimes to keep a record of it for the inevitability of selling it off or
Yeah.
someone selling it for you. You want to know that. And oh, Terry hand painted the tray inserts. We got a little bit of. I missed the rest of that.
Uh-huh. So what are some of the things you look for aside from style and that makes a piece of porcelain in miniature a fine piece?
I guess it's the delicacy of it.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's why and Avon Miniatures were another that did some lovely dinnerware sets. And
Mhm.
again, it depends on how I'm displaying it, Darren. But
Yeah, and just talk a little bit about you. I forget where you communicated that you had I think on your Instagram account, which by the way, I put in the chat box, Martha's Instagram, and I'll repeat that later. But talk about like that broken piece you found and how you can always find things to do with broken pieces. Don't get rid of them.
well, well, in that case, yes, I had broken. Well, I've broken a number of pieces, Stokesware pieces. They are quite delicate, and I used it in my china shop on the desk with some glue beside it, only because I couldn't bear to throw it out.
Yeah.
Um, I've also, I mean, I've seen people put it on the floor with a cat beside
Huh?
it or a dog that sort of knocked it off a table, or you can
Yeah.
always incorporate it. Sometimes it's just really hard to throw something out.
Yeah.
That truly, and I have actually utilized them on a hutch or something where you're not going to see it necessarily if you put something in front of it. So you can salvage them.
Yeah.
It's just a crying moment when you do break something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can't replace. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so just get a little creative. Don't toss those pieces because they're still valuable and beautiful, even part of it. Yeah. All right. So,
okay.
okay. So,
Move on to silver.
are we moving on? Yeah. Okay,
Should we move on to
let
silver?
me
Okay.
share the silver shop, which really is just incredible. All right. There we go.
I think this is your favorite, Karen.
Yeah, well, they're all my favorites, but yeah. Uh, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
These etageres are David Booth, which I love. I do have a front on this piece, and I put silver anti-tarnish strips in it, and enclosing it helps prevent some of the tarnishing. In this case, I've left these open for you to see inside this piece. Again, I choose pieces of furniture that allows me to display other pieces. And that's usually how I go about picking a piece of furniture. Um,
Is that a
lots
key?
of lots of makers represented here. There's Gordon Blacklock, Jens Torp, Simply Silver, Peter Kisto, Mike Sparrow. It, there's something, I don't know what it is about miniature silver, but
Do you have a favorite maker? I mean, they're all so talented. They all make beautiful pieces. Is it the maker or is it the piece or is it both?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Someone was asking me what my favorite piece is, and I think pieces that you have in real life sometimes. My husband gave me a sterling chamber stick with for an engagement present, actually. And I have two of them in miniature at this point. So again, I think you look for things that perhaps you may have in miniature.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of it is very
Very real life. I
emotional.
mean,
There's some that emotional piece to these to miniatures, and we like to have that emotional connection to help that dopamine drop when you see these pieces. Incredible, just incredible. Is there is there something like right now that you don't have that's on order that you're waiting for or that you're looking for? Bucket list?
no, actually, not at the moment in the way of silver.
Okay.
I am going to share the different makers with you here, and there are many more certainly out there. If you're looking for cutlery, there are
Oh,
the ones that I can recommend would be Mike Sparrow and Peter Kisto. I don't think many others are doing full sets of cutlery. So if you're looking to do a formal dining room, they are pretty much the two for the flatware. As far as other pieces, I guess it really comes down to what you love. And so shall we go into the silver,
yes,
the
please.
different bakers as well? All right, let's do this. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, let's start over here in the corner. This is Stephen Randall, Royal Tunbridge Wells. This is a teeny tiny music box that actually works. I don't know that I can, no, it does work. There's a little switch here on the bottom.
And what is that? A shell? What is the top made of?
That's enamel. There we go.
Enamel. It's beautiful.
Okay,
It is just,
I can't wind and turn it
yeah.
on all at the same time, but this is a piece that he can't get the works anymore, so he's no longer making these. Again, I love his pieces with the enamel.
Yes.
He does these beautiful Fabergé frames, and that is his wonderful tea urn there. The larger pieces really are eye-catching. So if you're going to say do a room and you want a focal point on a table or something like the big tea urn is kind of a fun piece. Moving on, I think we're going to do the England tour here first.
Okay.
Mike Sparrow, many of the Brits certainly are, he's a fan favorite for sure. He does really wonderful, unique, and different pieces. I love his little cheese warmer. And again, another collab with the Gerd Felka teeny tiny glass cruets with the stoppers. The stoppers come off in those. Jens Tort, love Jens's pieces. You were asking if I have favorites. I think his silver tureen with the lobster on top is another of my favorites. But again, another piece that I truly love is the gilt French horn. Now, I played the French horn in high school, so obviously drawn to it, and to have one in my miniature collection is amazing. The little mouthpiece actually pulls out, and that's separate, which is kind of fun.
Which one was the lobster piece?
It's in my shop.
Oh, okay.
On yeah, it's or you can go on his website. A lot of these people have websites. I encourage people to sort of maybe take down prices or do PDFs of their gallery, and if they're looking to sort of record prices, or it helps with your wish list if you're saving for a very unique piece when you see them at a show. Jack, you're so funny. Is there a piece I regret not getting? Well, No, I think I've walked away knowing that they will make another one, and I save, and then I get it at the next show.
Yeah.
So Pita Key Stowe. I don't have many of Pete's out for some reason. I'm not sure, but a lot of you will know Pete's work.
Mm.
There's his pickle caster frog and his punch bowl.
Are there signature, I don't know, signatures to each of these
There,
makers that
there are markings on them. A lot of them are in the big book of silver, the big book of miniature makers marks, and Wendy Smale is busy trying to get or is working away on a website now for people to help identify, which is wonderful. Sorry, we're just all jumping around here, which I think is fabulous. Let me just show you. This is a book that people um, that truly want to start a collection, and there that obviously there are stamps on the bottom. Sorry, we're just juggling all around here. So Jens's marks will be on the bottom of these different pieces.
Mhm.
There we go.
Oh, that is just beautiful. I love that piece. Oh, lovely. Just lovely.
I intend to fill that with a plant for
Mm.
my dollhouse. Okay, let's move on to, oh, sorry, Simply Silver. Victor made a lot of unique and different pieces. I pointed that out in the glass shop, a collab, and he's used Gerd Felka's glass, and of course the stoppers come out. Excuse me, Stokesay Ware used to display a lot of their plates and things. They liked Victor's plate tea stands, and they did a vertical one as well. Jens does a vertical tea stand as well. Um, this one, no, you did have. I didn't actually get around to polishing this one. I found I was doing a lot of polishing, Darren, and have a lot
And
more
we
to do.
appreciate it.
You brought that to my attention, that you do have to take care of these things, and
Yeah.
they do need to be polished every now and then. But this little cheese wheel is kind of fun. The pieces come off, and um,
Uh, That is really unique.
I think it's finding something that is just a little bit different sometimes, that draws me into different miniatures. Okay, let's go to the back. We've got Gordon Blacklock. He did a lot of wonderful baskets. I don't know
Mm.
too much about him. These I've only ever picked up on the secondary market. Our British friends would know a little bit more. And there were a couple of other, Terence Stringer, there were a couple of other silversmiths. And there
Mm.
are some, I think there's a new silversmith coming along in England as well.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the guy.
Obadiah
Mm.
Fisher, I don't have a lot of Obadiah's work. He had retired from the miniature scene when I first started collecting, and it's available on the secondary market and sometimes just staggering prices for
Yeah,
some of those. So,
very hard to come by.
yeah. Craig Matuzowski. This was a vase that he did for me. I asked him if he would
Wow.
do a vase that I could exhibit flowers in and arrange flowers in. And so we made this one up. And the first arrangement I did in it, I sent him a picture. I raced home and I filled it with peonies and roses. And it was very light and airy. And he said, Julie loves it, which meant she was his girlfriend and fiance
Ah,
at the time.
wow.
And so of course Julie had to have it. And um, so he would display it on his table whenever he was exhibiting silver, and people would say, "Can I buy that with the flowers in it?" And he'd say, "No, no, sorry, it's Julie's. You'll have
Oh,
to go and ask Martha if she'll do it for you." So
yeah. Yeah.
quite often, I have done a number of Julie bouquets in that vase.
Oh,
His little he did a series of little boxes. He learned from his dad. They're Canadian.
mm.
Um, and I missed that question about Obadiah. Um, he learned from his dad. His dad, they
Mhm.
came to Canada from Russia, and he was a silversmith in Russia and continued when he got here. And I don't know whether he must have done other things, but Greg learned from his dad, which is always wonderful to have someone follow along in their footsteps. So
Is, is that
Greg's
is that all silver or is that opal as well? Or is it how's the light catching that?
this one, no, that's all silver.
It's all silver because it
Yeah.
looks like border is a different material. Beautiful, just beautiful.
Okay.
How
And
about
then moving
oh
on,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
you know the story behind this one, Darren.
Yes, but do tell it.
But do tell it. Okay. This is Don Henry. Don Henry worked at Garrard in London before moving to Canada. And I think it's when he came to Canada that he really got into doing the miniatures. And he would, I would often pick a piece of silver each show. And he and I became friends over the years. But my husband would come and help me pack up, and he approached Dawn and he said, I've got this old pocket watch that has no works in it and it just is sitting there. He said, if I give that to you, could you do something for Martha with it? And he
Oh,
said, sure, not a problem. So there was enough silver to make me an 18 karat gold tea set.
oh,
So he made me a couple of other little pieces, a little vase, and then another little tray as well. There was enough gold in the pocket watch, but
that's
he
amazing.
he queried whether Paul really wanted him to. But as Paul had said, there was no chance that he'd ever find works that would fit. So
Yeah,
um, again, this is quite a special piece to me.
yeah, yeah. That's a great reason to refurb. I mean,
Mhm.
to have
And
that.
that comes with knowing them too, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gotten to know Dawn as well as I did. And
Yeah.
he's done me a beautiful little julep cup and sort of a filigree bowl. I have a few left. He's retired. He's been retired now for quite some time, but again, it's wonderful to use something that other people don't have, and that's what I've strived for when I've making my own miniatures is finding a different look.
Yeah.
Uh, and then down here we are at flatware. This is Mike Sparrow.
Mhm.
No, maybe not. Sorry, I apologize. This is Peter Kistos um, flatware.
Beautiful. Oh, that whole set is his?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
see. Right, because you've
And
got
you're
different types of cutlery. Beautiful. Just beautiful. We did have a question about Obadiah. Mary wanted to know if is there a relationship between Obadiah Fisher and the pieces that are marked MMA? What's
Yeah,
MMA?
there is, and I don't quite know.
Oh,
Here we are. They were sold in the gift shop at the MMA.
what's
Um,
MMA? Museum of
Museum of Modern. Let's see if
Modern
you
Art.
want to pop that back up.
Huh. Wait, so MMA is what? Museum of Modern Art? No.
Um, who can pop in there with the answer to that?
Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Metro.
Oh, so, so Obadiah Fisher sold pieces at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. Who knew? Wow.
Fabergé frames are Stephen Randall, and he is still, excuse me, he does have a website, and his daughter is coming along, has become a silversmith, and is making pieces. So the Fabergé frames are still available for anybody looking to purchase one of those. They came in a range of colors: red, yellow, blue, black. They're fun pieces.
Wow. Wow. This has just been incredible. So now for folks who want to reach out, they can follow you on Instagram, right? You also have a website where where you sell work as well, correct?
Someone was asking about the marks for Obadiah. They
Ah,
are, he has his own, his pieces are marked on the bottom as well. So, and I don't know whether he may be in the reference guide to miniature makers marks for anybody wanting to know the different signature stamps on the bottom of the pieces of silver.
awesome. Beautiful. Yeah, so I just plopped in the information again for folks who are interested in maybe following Martha on Instagram. You've got an amazing account where you showcase your miniatures and your wonderful porcelain, sterling silver, and glassware. Thank you for taking us on this little tour and for teaching us a little bit about these categories within miniatures in the fine art world. This has been incredible.
If
Um,
if I've shown pieces that people would like more information on, by all means, get in touch. I love sharing it. I love
Beautiful.
that aspect of miniatures. And part of the reason I've been doing the artisan highlights on my Instagram account is just to share some of these makers and the range of their work. I mean, I can show one picture of something, but when you see the groupings of copper or porcelain or glass or
Yes.
food, it just highlights the different makers. And I think it's fun to share in this community. And everyone is so generous with their skills and their knowledge. And so it's a fun way to
Yeah.
be sharing this collection of mine.
And it's inspiring for sure for folks who might want to either start a collection or build on an existing collection. So it's
I
what you're doing for sure.
I I missed that question from Alana. I can't see the rest of the question here on the bottom of my screen.
Have you purchased anything from Sergey Shevchenko? Shevchenko? Is that a new name for you?
It is one I know. I think it's available online. No, I haven't.
Okay.
That's the short
All
answer to that, but I
right.
have heard of them.
All right. And Donna said, thank you for the great memories of early works. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Martha.
Thank
This has
you.
been a great way to spend an afternoon. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you guys at home
Thanks,
for
Taryn.
spending time talking about miniatures. Have a great rest of your day and have a great week, everybody.
You too.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.